Welcome to the Dynasty Podcast. Sorry for missing a week. That was on me. It won't happen again. Probably will. Whatever. We're not going to delay the start here because we have some breaking news in BC with a Blockbuster, I guess, trade going through. Ben and I are just looking at it now, and we thought it would be interesting to review it live on the show. Um, my first takeaways are this, Ben. Let me know if you're kind of
Why don't
seeing
you
something
say the
different.
trade first before we talk?
All right. So, Bad Boys sends the Cincinnati Bengals Jordan Watkins, New Orleans Saints kicker, Troy Anderson on injured reserve, and Kevin Winston to Vito Corleone for Philadelphia Eagles, Minnesota Vikings kicker, Dexter Lawrence, Max Crosby, and Austin Keys. So, if I'm reviewing this without seeing contracts 100%, which do matter, and we have looked at them, to me, right off the bat, I would have the dynasty value of the Philadelphia Eagles and the Cincinnati Bengals QB value at about equal. Their contracts are actually the same. They're both on 2-year $50 contracts. So, in my opinion, in order to send someone in the league a quarterback that is not injured or is injured to receive a equal value quarterback in dynasty, you would have to get value back for this year alone, correct? I'm sorry, there was a fifth and sixth sent by Bad Boys as well. That needs to be mentioned.
Okay.
So that's point number one. If you're sending a backup quarterback to someone else, regardless of their dynasty value moving forward, there seems to me that there would have to be some sort of value coming back to the player that's taking on the injured quarterback for the next 3 months. Would you agree with that or disagree with that? Especially
Yeah.
since the quarterbacks are what, fifth and sixth in dynasty rankings, somewhere they're pretty interchangeable. Maybe you give this light nod to the Bengals in some rankings. I think Burrow was ahead of Hurts in both of our rankings, but I think they were both in the top 7 or 8. Um, all right, so that's number one. Let's just say the Vikings kicker in return for the Saints kicker is an also upgrade because the Saints have a Petrod offense versus the Vikings. So you would have to assume the Vikings are going to score more
Kickers
points.
are kickers, though.
The kickers are kickers. So then you send Dexter Lawrence, who's on a holdout tag, which can be tagged as a pretty dominant defensive tackle.
It's
And
a
then you
transition tag or franchise tag candidate.
And then you send Max Crosby, who is 100% a franchisable tag D end. Okay, so
Still
those
top
are the
five
meat.
in the. He's still
That's
top
the
five.
meat. That's the meat of it. And in return, you get an injured quarterback, Jordan Watkins, who has not scored any points, a lesser kicker, a 1-year linebacker that has still not played and is on IR, and a rookie seventh round safety. But you get the fifth and the sixth back. So
Okay.
we're assuming the cap is relatively neutral in this deal. So in my short assessment, you're getting the better QB, not only this year, which is evident, possibly in the future at the same contract value. You're getting a taggable defensive tackle, and you're getting 100% a top 10 defensive end for Jordan Watkins, and the potential of Cincinnati Bengals being a better QB moving forward in Dynasty than the Philadelphia Eagles. So, what is the value that he's getting for Max Crosby alone? I'm just curious. And then, second of all, what the hell is Vito doing? He doesn't, if he's tanking and doesn't want to score points this year, okay, but he doesn't have his first, I don't think. I just looked and he doesn't have it listed in, as a trade asset. So I don't know. Seems off to me. Would you take a deal like that
If
if
I
you
was
were?
Warren, if I was Warren, I would. If I well, no, let's say if I was Warren's side, I might have to check in to make sure that the commission was doing okay, like how his mental health was. Make sure that like this wasn't like a sign of something very bad happening in the life. That's how bad I think this trade is. Well, okay. Here's the thing. Maybe people don't value defensive players. Maybe that nobody wide receiver that was thrown in that gets no snaps somehow has value in the eyes of somebody. But I will
So
say
here,
this.
yeah.
That linebacker is not only on IR, he's not getting a job when he comes off IR in week 6. So
Well, but if you're reading the notes, it says you can have a 1 year linebacker because I can't take that much cap. So there, to me, that sounds like it's not even
it was a throw in
it's a
to
throw in that
balance the
doesn't have any
cap.
value. So where's the value?
So the original trade, this is what the original trade is. Screw everything else. It's basically the Bengals quarterback and a 5th and 6th because nobody else matters for the Eagles quarterback Dexter Lawrence, who can be tagged next year and is top 10 dynasty DT anywhere I've seen, and Max Crosby, who can be tagged next year, who is top 5 dynasty D end anywhere I've looked. I mean, he just is.
So I don't know.
So I way to go, Warren. Like, good
Yeah,
job.
but I mean, like again, like Vito's he's the commissioner of our league, right? Like he's been playing these leagues for a long time. I want to hear him explain what value he thinks he's getting back for this.
I'm sure he will. You could bring it up. He always does. I mean, I'm not. I don't
Is
think
he
it.
high on?
I don't think it's vetoable, but it's like I don't think people are valuing correctly.
So what would Max Crosby go for that you could tag? Okay, so I know I've given up like a second rounder for. I think I sent you a second rounder for your Vikings guy Hunter when he was in the same situation. So let's just conservatively put a second round value on Max Crosby. Is that fair?
I would pay a second round for Max Crosby on that current
Okay,
contract,
so take
knowing
the
I could
quarterbacks
franchise
and
him.
everybody else out of the deal. What does he get back that's worth a second round value?
Nothing. No, there's nothing. It's not that. That's the he really values Burrow and probably doesn't like what he's seeing from Hurts, and it's some kind of panic trade. But here's what's actually for me the most disturbing: like the commission doesn't really have running backs, and Warren's got 5. So you're telling me you traded Crosby? Okay, 2 guys I couldn't have got off a veto 3 weeks ago for any of my players. So like, okay, so like now he's worth nothing. We've talked about this before in different trades. A guy I can't get from an owner suddenly is like a throw-in? I don't understand. Like I don't understand why anybody would give any type of franchise player away. First of all, without floating it out, unless he just really wants the Bengals and Joe Burrow next year, I guess.
Joe Burrow has been hurt. I mean, as much talent as he has, like,
But
I
it's
mean,
not
he's
an
not Josh
upgrade.
Allen. He's not.
It's
It's
not
not
an
an
upgrade
upgrade. It's not
because
an
he's
upgrade.
hurt. So it's a
And it's
downgrade.
and there's
It's
still no value return for this year and just the rental on it alone. There has to be value attached to that as a savvy owner. You have to say, listen, yeah, I don't mind him long
if they
term, but you got to pay
forgot
me
to put
something
in
for him.
Jalen Warren or
Yeah,
one of his running backs, this makes sense.
100%.
But without a running back given in for Vito to maybe have some flexibility because his 2 guys aren't exactly working out, maybe I just don't understand. It's like
Well,
Warren's got.
I'm not going to blast it out too much, but there's owners in my chat right now privately sending messages saying, "What the hell is this?" Like, so we're not the only ones like
It's
saying,
ludicrous. It's ludicrous. It is indefensible, but not vetoable.
I don't know
Unless
if
we
it's
think
not
he's
beatable.
okay. Well, I mean, if we think he's dumping players to Warren,
If
if you
he's
think
dumping points, okay, one thing, he doesn't have his first.
I know,
He
I
doesn't
don't
have his
understand.
first,
I
so
don't
he can't get
understand.
into the lotto. Number two, I don't care what trades you make. Like, we're going to analyze them when they're savvy owners. And I don't want to hear this nonsense. Well, it's my team. I can run it the way I am. And I've been doing this a long time. Bullshit, man. Like, to me, again, Max Crosby's worth a second. I mean, there's people in here saying Max Crosby's worth a first. which I don't
He
agree
is.
with. I mean, I don't think we see any
He's
very many
younger than
franchises.
Daniil Hunter when you traded
Right,
Daniil
but we
Hunter to
don't
me.
see often if someone's a franchise tag where someone will bid a first on a stud defensive end. I mean, so I'm okay with calling it a second round value. Someone please explain to me where the second round value comes back in this trade,
It
let
doesn't.
alone all the other stuff.
It
Dexter
doesn't.
Lawrence is just a throw in, just a giveaway.
Giveaway. Rookie safety, I guess, maybe get lucky with. I don't know.
Seventh round rookie safety.
No, I mean that's like
But that's a
come
seventh
come
round
get
value. He hasn't even
come get
played. There's
Harrison
no
Smith from me who's about to,
there's no
get his
uptick
role
in his
back.
value if he was drafted in the seventh round and he hasn't played yet. So you can't give him a more than a sixth round value on that. So the fifth and sixth and a sixth.
I mean, the most secure roles right now are the two linebackers in Atlanta. So it's like not even like you're like, well, maybe he comes off IR and he gets snaps. He's not gonna. Like those two linebackers have been very, very good. And it's an expiring 1 year deal. You're not going to you're going to transition tag or franchise a guy who's never didn't get snaps this year. So it's an injury away, but like this, there's no value there, pick wise. So
Yeah,
because
I
it's
mean,
like an inflated contract that's on it goes on the IR, and then like
just like
again now,
I send, I send Vito a trade or Vito a trade today. I said, hey, do you want Karlaftis for Sam Laporta? So I mean, they were taken basically. Well, Karlaftis was taken later, but I took Will Anderson right after I took Laporta in that draft. Well, they're both score. They're both top 10 defensive ends. I feel like that. Okay, now there's scarcity in tight end, so he's like, I absolutely won't trade Laporta for a defensive end. Okay, cool. So maybe he doesn't value defensive ends, but the
clearly
league
he does
does.
not. But it's not like he's sitting there with good ones. It's like DJ Wanham's a kind of starter, and
I just
who's he
don't
going to turn out? I
understand
don't.
what value he got back for two players that
Well, his
are
team did
instant
not
starters,
get better for this year. Admittedly, his team got worse for this year,
without a
and
doubt.
like by a wide margin. So does that mean we're not competing after week 3?
Okay, that's fine. He can not get better this year if he gets better from a dynasty
But he
perspective.
doesn't have his own picks. You said
He doesn't have a first round pick. He doesn't have a second round pick. He doesn't have a third round pick.
so. He doesn't own his own picks. Like why would you? You never tank if you don't own your own picks. So I
Correct.
can't. I can't
Unless he
understand any aspect of this trade unless it can be described to me that he believes that Jake Browning is going to have a bounce back and be a top 3 quarterback in this league, and that's how he's going to make up for losing the 200 points that Crosby's going to score and the 180 that Dexter Lawrence probably scores by the end of the year. you know, Conservatively, I don't know. I mean, I really. It could be panic. Maybe he just doesn't think they're good now. I don't know, man. But he's been in these leagues for so long. There's just no way.
But I mean, again, were any of these players on his trade bait? Did he send out offers to multiple people to try to move
I ain't
individual
got
assets
nothing.
like Crosby? Like, who isn't in the right mind that needs a defensive end that's a competitor, not going to pay something of value for Max Crosby alone? So again, my question is, what value did he get for Max Crosby? None.
He didn't get any.
The fifth and the sixth, to me, is the cost for the quarterback transaction. That's the cost for a quarterback that is one of the top 5 in
For
points
losing
in the league.
value. For losing
Yeah.
value. If it was the Eagles for the Bengals in a 5th and 6th, that deal makes sense.
There has to be someone missing in that trade.
I think there has to be.
There has to be a running back because
I think
Warren
there
is
was
talking
supposed to be
about,
a running back on the way back.
yeah, if you throw, like you say, if you throw a Jalen Warren, if you throw Jalen Warren in there, then I'm like, okay, Jalen Warren, maybe not even him. Like maybe it's, I don't
He's
even
got
remember.
5 running backs.
Yeah, pick his worst one. I don't understand.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, how could Warren literally give, like, the most asset-filled team in this league can give nothing and get all of that back?
Get 3 startable assets instantly.
We're going to get into this. Like, when we're talking about buys and what people can score on a buy, Warren's going to be a problem. Now it's like I don't even know how to explain it.
I
Like,
don't care if he's a problem. He's going to be a problem regardless. What I want is fair transactions that aren't completely lopsided. And to me, someone is going to have to seriously explain why this isn't a lopsided trade outside of some sort of player being missing from the trade. I don't get it. It's like yeah, do I think Warren pulls off these deals a lot? Yeah. Does Vito know better? Yes. So let me hear how Vito knows better. I don't care. He can justify it, but he has to justify it because there's several people, again, not just me. I've just seen this trade 10 minutes ago and we're talking about it live. So now we have two people talking about it. I have two people in my chat saying this is ridiculous. Like, so when it comes to that discussion, don't blame it on me for always being the bad guy. It's just like, come on, man. Like, explain it.
yeah, I mean,
Is it a
I
fuck you saying, well, they're not rookies, so we can do what we want? Okay, cool. Well, what a league we play in if we're just, pairing up with a guy that we like a little bit more so we can. I don't know. I don't want to. To me, there just has to be an explanation, and maybe we're missing something that I don't see. But I've checked into proposing a trade to Vito. He doesn't have any of his first three picks. He's a middle of the road team. He loses points, but there's no value being given back to him for the assets he gave up. That's just the bottom line. Sorry. Well, that's a great opening segment. So let's move on to something else while this continues to fester in chat, and we'll come back to it.
yeah, I mean, somebody's probably going to veto it.
I hate the
If this
veto.
is
I don't want to veto it because it's just like, really? Like,
yeah, but it's fair to if you feel like it's giving imbalance to the league, it's okay to veto. Like if you feel like that, I mean, they can justify it, but I
but
mean, I don't
again,
know.
we're pretty smart guys. Like, just
Warren's
explain to me what value
one
you're
and
getting back.
two, right? So it's
Just
like, but again,
Warren,
like where's the asset back? Like, he's got
I guess
Chase
they'll say
Brown,
Jordan Watkins.
he's got Jalen Warren. Like, I mean, I don't know. One of those guys was supposed to go into it. I'm not really sure.
All right.
But
Well,
but here's the thing. Warren has five running backs that are all on good contracts. They're all cheap.
and he
So
posted, and he posted, "Hey, all my running backs can be had."
that's what I'm saying. So for now, I'm okay giving the benefit of the doubt that there was
There's someone
supposed to
missing in the
be
deal.
a running back because otherwise, like, we need to have an intervention with our commissioner. Like, it's you can't make trades like that. Like, you just can't. I,
Well,
there
I'll be
won't
curious
be
to see what someone like
there will
Penn or
not
Mandy
be an
says.
explanation that will come 10% of justifying it to me. So, I mean, they can make up whatever they want, but if that's what the trade was really supposed to be, then
Fuck, if even if you threw Isaac Garendo in there, something, some sort of stash value. He didn't even get a Garendo. Garendo maybe has a third round value.
dude, all I
Like,
know is
not really.
I do not get trades like this ever. And it kind of makes me sad that the same people always somehow get them. Get on them. I
Yeah, but
guess if you're
again, like that leads into the and I don't hate to use the word, but that trade alone screams of collusion to me. It just doesn't. It doesn't seem. It doesn't seem.
before we start screaming collusion, let them
I'm just.
respond and see if they're missing a guy, man.
I don't. That's why I don't want to say it, but I don't know what other how a seem like a vet owner in these leagues that's been playing it for 10 years could justify that trade without that another asset being missed. I just don't. So I'm baffled. I'm absolutely baffled. Again, but I'm going to let this up to the other league. I'll be interested to hear what Mandy, Penn, some of these other guys that don't like vetoing things. It's time for other people to speak up. I'm not going to do it this time. So I've said how I feel about it. I will not be the one vetoing this. And
We're on tape. We're on
yeah,
tape talking about how.
yeah, I don't mind. I mean, if this was a trade between you and Jason, I would say the same thing. Jason's a 1-2 team that's probably ready to sell off pieces. If you guys made a deal like this, I'd be calling you and screaming out
Yeah,
on the
but
phone.
Jason might have his own picks. That'd be different. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if
Yeah,
it
but
would
you
be the
still should
same.
get value back, even if you're tanking players. You still need to get value back. You don't just tank players that don't have, because then you get a third or a second back in this deal at least. Like then you have more picks and you lose value in points, right? So to me that's not even a justification either. It just doesn't make sense from a strategy standpoint.
I guess they might just try and push it that the guys are on 1 year deals, but it's just not
That I
true.
wouldn't tag him. Okay, even if he doesn't tag Texter Lawrence, like he's already at $40, like he's only 65.
Well, I can't
I
wait
mean,
for Bad Boys to come offer me fucking Max Crosby to be franchised for like a first and a second,
yeah. So
which is
yeah,
exactly what's going to fucking
yeah.
happen at the end of the year.
So
So,
let's see
like,
what
I don't
Max
even
Crosby gets
understand.
pitted off. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, Christian McCaffrey doesn't have any value.
No, none.
It's baffling to me, man. Anyway, all right, we're gonna move on. This is kind of a newer segment. We're gonna talk about three things that we were right about and three things we were wrong about. Ben, do you want to go first on the right, or do you want me to go first?
Why don't
What do
you
you
go
think?
first?
All right. So, quite honestly, I had a hard time just picking three, but we're only 3 weeks in, so I did kind of take that into consideration. But the way things are trending right now, I think the regression of Bo Nix was something that I was right about. I did not have him in my top 12 dynasty or 15 quarterbacks. I think he was playing more at his ceiling in 2024, mostly due to his age and his experience. So even though he had a pretty solid rookie campaign, I think the structure he was in with with his coach and just kind of not having to do too much, had a solid defense. I just felt like there was definitely regression coming. He's averaging 201 yards of total offense this year after 3 games. That includes rushing. He's got 5 TDs and 3 interceptions with 1 fumble, so 5-4 turnover ratio. He really hasn't played any top defenses. The past defenses that he have played, the Chargers and maybe the Colts are both they're in the top 10, but they haven't really played anybody elite yet. So the Chargers I'll give the benefit of the doubt on. I don't think the Colts will be in that position as the year goes on. Um, and he's the 19th ranked fantasy quarterback after 3 games. So to me, no matter what, he's already shown regression. Whether that stands, he might have some blow up games, but I think again, compared to some of the other younger quarterbacks in that class, I think he was playing a little bit more at his peak than where he has much more of a ceiling to improve upon. So, any thoughts on that, Ben?
I just would like to say that it's a fact that every single quarterback from last year's class has regressed.
Caleb hasn't. I don't think Drake May has either.
Drake May has. Yeah, he has. He has some stats that are not good. Um,
Well, his
and
overall stats are pretty good, but maybe there's some.
okay, well, Penix looks like shit,
Penix looks
but
bad.
but I don't think it's Penix's fault. I think their offensive coordinator is doing stupid shit. I saw like how it doesn't make sense how they're running that offense. They're going to fire that offensive coordinator by next week if they can't score.
I would
And
say that
then
it's too early to tell to go into the assessment. I think we want to wait another week or two to reevaluate that class from last year. But
well, we're going to, but I'm just saying like all you get tape and these guys come out and then, you got some tape and a little more planning on them and they're going to have a harder time. Doesn't mean that, to your point, I mean, they could be better by the end of the year,
yeah, I mean, there's
mid-year,
still
whatever.
time. I just don't think that he's a top 10, fantasy quarterback ever. And I think he's played kind of where he's in his realm of.
I
I
don't think he's
I
running as much as he used to, but I don't know that for sure. I'd have to actually.
I think he has like almost 50 yards rushing, something like that, a game. He's actually running a decent amount.
That's
I
why
just
the value's there.
Yeah. I just don't think. I think he's more on like a Sam Darnold trajectory, who's been really good this year, and I was wrong about him so far. Not really good, but he's been good. So I mean, that's not a bad quarterback. I just don't think he's a top 12, top 15 quarterback in Dynasty. Um, that's my personal take. So the second one I had was Isaiah Pacheco is hot trash, basically. Not an RB1. We can review that trade too for Ladd McConkey in another league. Or was no that I'm sorry, that was in this league as well. He's averaging less than 10 touches a game between the air and on the ground. He's 3.62 yards per touch. He's 24th in snap count with competition of Brashard Smith, Kareem Hunt, and that's on first and second down. So, and then the only kind of little bit of grace I'll give him is I don't think the upside of the Chiefs' offense is in full effect right now because of the wide receivers being out with Worthy and Rice coming back. I think he might see some improvement, but right now it's just kind of an eye test thing. He just looks like a plotter that has no real, you know, value in the passing game. He doesn't. I mean, he's a good 2 or 3 yard and fall down kind of guy, but I just don't see it, and I didn't like him before the season, and I don't like him now. So I think I was right about that one. I'm on record again saying that.
I don't agree with you that he's just a plotter.
He runs hard.
Yeah. What I will say is your statistics don't really need to be laid out. If you watched any of these games or seen anything on X of these replays, like there was a screen pass that ended up being a backward pass that he turned the wrong way to. There was like multiple missed blocking assignments, which is very crazy that he's still there. And like on he has mental errors that are astounding for someone who's been in the league. And so, I think he still gains yards, and I think his expected is as good as the other guys. Like, I don't think his rushing ability has been outshined by anyone there, and I think that's because
Well, yeah, but his
they don't
competition's
have a good
Kareem Hunt.
offense.
Yeah,
They're not running the ball well. Their offense isn't moving well. They also had like a pretty brutal schedule to start the season. So I think they're probably played three of the top five, six defenses. So my point in this is like I don't know if I want to jump to too many conclusions on like whether or not he can run the ball, but I will say I can't understand the mental errors that he's made, and at some point you got to just maybe that's why Kareem Hunt's getting more run, but they're still using them all pretty much the same. Nobody looks
they're
great.
trying to use him on first and second down. Like Kareem Hunt's, like, I think 40th or something like that. But it's not much competition not to have kind of a dominant.
But just say, I believe you're going to be right after, you know, 7 or 8 games. But if you weren't, and Pacheco started finally getting his shit together, I wouldn't be that surprised because I don't agree with you that he looks like a plotter. I think he looks like he can run fine. What I don't think he's doing well is what you think he would be in there for, which is, he can pick up blitzes. He can, like,
Knows
do
the
the other
offense.
things.
Yeah.
He just do the other little things, right? And so they clearly don't trust Smith enough to do it. And maybe Kareem Hunt is actually way more, like maybe he was way more beat as far as like lateral ability. And so they can't get Hunt on screens and they can't get, so they're forcing Pacheco in that role because they're not ready to give that to Smith. But I honestly I think all of them look bad. So
Yeah, and it
I
could
don't
partly
know.
just be the Chiefs' offense in general. Um, Another couple points, and we'll move on. I don't see Kareem Hunt as a second contract guy. What's the open market for Kareem? Or I'm sorry, Isaiah Pacheco. So he's either a Chief or he's a Rico Dowdle somewhere else, and
Maybe
I would rather have Rico Dowdle. I think
some
somewhere else.
pretty damning tape so far, but
And yeah, I mean, I just don't think he's he's a sixth or seventh round draft pick. I think they move on from him and they
he
go after
won
some.
Super Bowls and had very good play in
Well,
those
the good
Super
thing is
Bowls.
he
So
stayed healthy through 3 games, so that was one of the knocks I had on him before the season, that he gets hurt a lot. So
we don't have to go more on him.
knock on wood on that one. The last one is Javonte Williams rebound. He's 12th in snap share at 69% in the league. That means he's getting the majority of the touches. He's 5.1 yards per touch with almost 19 touches a game. He's sixth in fantasy football scoring, and he has limited depth behind him on an explosive offense and an imploding defense, which means if he's catching the ball out of the backfield and he's getting touches, and then he continues to catch the ball, like I don't see him really regressing. I think he's looked really great running the ball outside of that fumble he had on the Bears, which was kind of devastating for them early. I think he's got his pop back and he's breaking tackles early, like he's always done. So kudos to those people that traded for him or held on to him through the year and a half injury. And I think that's another point is just some of these guys that tear their ACL, like that first year is going to be rough, but if they're young enough, like I think they can overcome it in year two. And Javonte Williams seems to be a perfect case for that. I'd actually say Miles Sanders has looked pretty decent in that offense as well. Surprisingly scoring some points for Bishop down, which I thought he was kind of dead. So I don't think the Blue situation has hurt him at all. And I think a lot of people beginning of the year thought that Blue would be, competing for some of that snap share count earlier in the season. And he still may, but it hasn't looked promising yet. So
Your third one.
those were my three. Those were what I was right about, I think.
Oh, well, okay.
I did the regression of Bo Nix, Isaiah
Pacheco
Pacheco, and Javonte Williams.
Okay. Yeah, Javonte kind of got dinged up, but he's definitely looked way better than I would have ever thought. So he's probably on my wrong list because I thought he was beat.
I think it's just the injury, man. That first year when they're back, it's just they don't have their legs under them, and I mean it's just hard. We've seen that over and over again with running backs, and I think if they're young enough again, like they still have with that much upside. I think they're going to get a second chance. I mean, look at J.K. Dobbins. Like he's done it 2 years in a row now where he's looked better, but he had a rough year back that first year, and everybody was kind of dead on him. So all right. You want to do what you were right about, and then we'll go into the wrong list.
Sure. Well, I was thinking, like, as far as running backs are concerned, I was very, very high on Jonathan Taylor bouncing back this year and, like, their offensive line being healthy. Now, we got pretty lucky that Danny Dimes got in there and he looks very competent, but I personally believed he was like more of like the Barkley that was going to have a bounce back from last year than say somebody who's about to drop off a cliff. So I was able to trade for him kind of everywhere.
You traded for him for me too in CK, I believe. One of
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah, I kind of thought he too was hurt, then played hurt, and I thought he was going to come back and finally have a healthy season. So
Kudos to you for that. I really screwed myself in the Jonathan Taylor market in CK because I traded Chase Brown. I'm sorry, Jamar Chase for him, pretty much straight up. Then he had a down year. Then I traded him away for a first, basically, probably a late first when I got I think I probably got Luther Burden for him or someone like that. So he's beat me up twice. So kudos to those Jonathan Taylor owners.
yeah, I mean,
He was actually on my wrong list, by the way, but I dropped it off today, thinking that you might you might be happy about him.
it's funny because we probably were both on the other ends of those. Because because Javonte Williams is on my
Well, we're not. I'm certainly not right.
making this segment
More
pretty,
than 50% of the time.
We're making this segment pretty quick, I guess. So I don't know if I was probably specifically raving enough about how much I believed in JSN in Seattle, Smith and Jigba, but he looks really elite right now. And I was trying to get him. I had him in spots, so I knew how good he got last year. I think we talked about how they got rid of
Lock.
Metcalf and everyone because they
Yeah, yeah.
like mid-season they already are like we're just this is just our guy, you know. And so I think being on him, in other leagues and stuff, I made sure to get him everywhere that I could, and that seems to be doing really well. I think he's got a good chance of finishing top five as a wide receiver too.
Oh yeah, I think so too. He's looked explosive on three levels. Like Sam Darnold, very competent. Seattle's surprising people. I think Kenneth Walker's looked really good too, which is kind of one of the surprises of this year with all the
Yeah, it
preseason
really
shit
was.
with injuries and uh, yeah. So that's a good one.
Yeah, and like, I was trying to do something like I didn't have a ton of hot takes off of the defensive end as we were going back and forth. I mean, I probably actually was more wrong. I do have somebody on that list, obviously. Um, but, like I was really high on Dion Henley after the stats that he'd put up last year. So I have a bunch of shares of him and, turned down a lot of trades. Like, think about it, like JSM and these guys, like, I turned a lot of trades down. It was just like, I'm rolling with this guy this year because I don't think I'm going to get the value. And I think Henley's he's top six in points scored right now, but he really runs that Chargers defense. And, last year there was like the rookie that came in and it's kind of up in the air, but this year he's really looked elite. His numbers are great. His coverage numbers are good. Like he's kind of finally that guy that was drafted super high however many years ago, 4 years ago I think it was. So I think Dion Henley's like gonna be a pretty elite linebacker moving forward, and I was pretty right on that if that continues. So those were like my three. That one was like a little forced. But I want to wait. I want to wait on a lot of guys before I start saying, That's why
Yeah,
this is top. This is pretty top heavy because I don't want to like take a victory lap on a guy who's maybe had a good game or two with a lot to prove still.
well,
So
it's on the tape, so that's the good thing about what we're doing is we make some statements early on in the preseason, and then when things are checking out, we can kind of ride that train, and then when they're not, we're gonna kind of have to face the wrath when it bounces back. So we're only 3 weeks in. A lot of this can change, but what I think I'm wrong about so far is kind of in ties up with Isaiah Pacheco is Mahomes lighting it up. I mentioned that several times. He's still the quarterback six without two of his top wide receiver weapons because he's the leading rusher on his team, which I think is kind of carrying him somehow. He just hasn't looked as like polished and decisive and clean as he usually does. But I think that's got to do with just kind of some of the pedestrian wide receivers he's working with, the lack of the running game. He's averaging 41 yards per game as a rusher. I think Kansas City would rather him not be doing that, but they have a pretty tough schedule. They're 1-2. I fully expect him to bounce back and start, kind of getting things together. But Kelsey looks pedestrian at this point, to for lack of better words. Like I just he doesn't look the same to me. He's making Tyquan Thornton relevant, which is interesting. I think from week six on to when he gets Rice back, who will be his outlet and worthy. I think KC will be just fine as the season progresses. But so far, I'm wrong about Patrick Mahomes, even though he's still a top six QB in fantasy. I thought he would have a chance to lead the league in passing this year. Um, Quentin Johnson. I like Quentin Johnson. I drafted him.
you motherfucker, you got him too. I'll find another one. I
Yeah,
got him too.
this was my Quentin Johnson and Jonathan. I actually had Caleb Johnson, so the Johnson brothers. But it's too early to tell on Caleb. As an Iowa guy, I'm gonna give him a little grace, but it doesn't look great for him so far in the season.
Yeah, I
Uh,
didn't do. Sorry, I didn't do any rookies either because I figured later in the segment we'll probably look at rookies, and I was kind of more of going off of people who are already known. you know.
This guy took a lot of shit, man. He couldn't catch the ball year one. Year two, I think we even talked about it. I was like, damn, he actually had a pretty solid season when you looked at his number. I mean, it wasn't like he
Yeah.
was, I think he had like 800 yards receiving and he probably had 50, 60. I mean, like, that's not a bad year two wide
Well, when
receiver.
they
I think,
signed Keenan Allen too, you're like, well, now he's definitely beat, right? And then they had
well,
some other
yeah.
guys that like drew some hype.
Well,
The
Trey Harris, and
Trey
that was
Harris
supposed to
and
be competition for him. He's averaging 8 targets per game, which leads the team, tied with Keenan Allen, actually. He's averaging 17 yards per reception with 3 TDs. So every pass seems to be some sort of deep shot to him, which can be a game changer and a fantasy relevant, right? You get two of those, long balls. Like, I mean, one for a touchdown, you got 20 points in a game almost. Like, it's just absolutely boom or bust. But he's not busting right now. He's
him and
tied
Trey
for
Tucker. Him and Trey Tucker are guys that we might have to like revise on. But I feel better about Quentin Johnson than Trey Tucker. But it's pretty wild. They're like both, leading in fantasy points. They're both top 10.
Yeah, and I think as of right now, I think I left this off my sheet on X, and I believe he's a top 8 wide receiver in fantasy after three
He's right
weeks.
after my boy JSM, so maybe I should quit taking victory laps as Quentin Johnson and Trey Tucker have other things to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I just
And
think
so
it's
does Fat Debo, and
it,
so does Adunze, who was supposedly the third best wide receiver on your team. So I have no idea what I'm doing here.
so he's number 8 in fantasy as a wide receiver, and Keenan Allen's number 10. Ladd's outside the top 50, and I do remember talking about how Ladd was going to see some regression this year, based off of not necessarily Keenan joining the team. That definitely hurts him, but I thought it was because they had Trey and that blah blah blah. Trey Harris, the rookie,
I
and
think we also thought they weren't going to pass it much, which
well,
they've
I
definitely.
opposed you on that one actually. I said that I thought he was not only going to run the ball, but I thought that they weren't just going to be. I thought Harbaugh was going to turn the keys over to Herbert a little bit more, and they have definitely done that. That throw he made to Keenan Allen for that touchdown is one of the best football throws I've ever seen. Like, just an absolute dart being chased 30
It's
yards
second
into a.
best to one I saw him make against the Vikings. That was unbelievably
Herbert's
ridiculous.
just someone I'm rooting for, man. I like his demeanor. He's not a rah rah guy, but he balls. Interestingly enough, he's only 8th on the list in total scoring for the Chargers, but they played some tough defenses. I think he's going to have some real big games, especially now that Najee's out. We'll see how Hampton carries the load there, but I don't think they're stopping him from throwing 35 times a game anytime soon. So anyway, a little Chargers love there. Um, and the third one I have that I was wrong about is the Detroit Lions offense regressing after the departure of Ben Johnson. Right now, they're third in the NFL and averaging 394 yards per game, with the second most TDs only to Baltimore with 13 total TDs. They're eighth ranked in passing offense. He's producing St. Brown as the number 2 at the position. They're the fourth ranked rushing offense with 2 RBs in the top 10 at the position. They're 7 for 8 on fourth down and third in NFL on third down with a 41% conversion rate. They have aggressive and explosive play calling. It actually looks very similar to some of the things that they're doing with, Ben Johnson. And despite the kind of sluggish opening game day against Green Bay, they've looked pretty damn good against the Bears, which is, I think everybody's going to look pretty decent against the Bears defense right now. Give us some time. I think once we get our cornerbacks back and we get a full healthy defense, a little bit better pass rush, I think we'll be okay. But I mean, they put it to Baltimore on the road, and I thought that was one of the more impressive wins of the season. They looked confident doing it. So Detroit seems to be okay too. I would think that they kind of deserve to be in the top 6 teams in the power rankings moving forward.
Yeah, they definitely after that Green Bay game, they turned it on last 2 weeks and looked
Yeah, it's
really good.
opening day, right? Like, I mean, that's just a lot of shit can go wrong, but they just
Divisional game too,
divisional
so
game on the road.
they
It's
had a
the
lot of
NFL, man.
creativity in that last game. Detroit did that
I
just
mean,
felt like it was whoever the predecessors are there are definitely they learned enough on misdirection and what's important in doing those plays when, so
So
I
we
thought
have a
that was pretty
response
good.
from Dan in the chat. Burrow for Hurts next year is what and was it for me. I got 2 third-round players I like: Watson, the RI, WR wide receiver, and Winston, who I graded as the fifth, the best safety in the class, trying to get cheaper. So okay. So Watts the Winston was a third-round safety. I guess I saw a seventh round, but that's the draft pick that the Bucks spent on him. So we got a third-round safety and Watson, who he's high on apparently, both third-round drafted players. So he feels like he got 2/3, a fifth, and a sixth, but he wanted the upgrade for the Bengals QB, and he's brushing off the Max Crosby value, I guess.
Couldn't disagree more.
Yeah,
I mean, I could not disagree more, but that's fine. It's his opinion. Yeah.
it's just baffling. It's baffling. What is the potential for Watson to score more than 80 points a game or a season? I mean, maybe because there's no wide receivers in San Francisco other than Parasol and Jennings. I mean, they're getting IU back. I don't know anything about the kid. He's third-round wide receiver. Great. I just think Dan's more savvy than that to know that Max Crosby could easily have gotten him a second round on a standalone basis. So just to say that I wanted the quarterback and I was willing to give up Crosby to do that uh, is interesting. And I wanted to get cheaper. Okay, cool, wonderful. Well, the league's talking about it. Not a lot of people happy about the trade, so I'll stay out of this one. All right, so let's move on to the stock market, the rookie stock market. Oh, did you have to do what you were wrong about? Yeah, I want to hear what you were wrong about.
Javonte Williams, because it's not just about his numbers and what he looks like. As far as that's concerned, he really looks like he's healthy and strong. And I'm gonna say something that might piss some people off, but he looks better than any one of the running backs in a Denver Broncos uniform, in my opinion. So not that Dobbins looks bad, but I mean, it's just like he looks like he can be the guy. I thought they were gonna have to do this. I don't know. I guess what the Commanders are deciding to do, which is just give 3 running backs equal shares and fucking see what happens. That's kind of what I thought they were gonna do, because I just didn't think Javonte could do it all still. So they just have to pick what he couldn't do with these other guys. And, Miles Sanders doesn't look bad either, so maybe that's just good, run blocking schemes that they have there. But I think Javante's been able to gain yards consistently after contact. He's been able to make shifty adjustments and holes to gain extra yards. I just think he almost looks better than I ever remember him looking when he was good, which I just didn't expect. So.
We have to bear in mind a little bit. I can't remember who they played week 1, but they beat the Giants, who are a gaping defense, and then they beat the Bears, or lost to the Bears, but the Bears' run defense is horrendous. So we'll see how he looks.
Defenses matter.
We'll see how he looks against a top 10 run defense as well. But everybody has games that are up and down for sure. So, but the eye test is passing for me as well as you've stated. So
yeah, my next one is going to be a big L, panic button, but a lot of season left on Brian Thomas Jr. I thought Brian Thomas Jr. was in top 5 conversations as far as a dynasty wide receiver asset. I probably turned down a lot of really good deals for Brian Thomas and just said he's untouchable on my roster. I don't have him on BC, but in the places that I do have him, I refuse to trade him. And then now I actually, in another league, Mando offered me Brian Thomas Jr. for JSN. Now, granted, there might have been some other stuff in this, I think, but basically the nuts and bolts of it was that trade, and I'm like, I can't do it. Which is crazy change in
well, you fall in
process.
love. but
Well,
that's probably
there's a. It's not.
an
It's
auto.
not as close. It's not as close there because there's like a $50 salary
Swing.
cap discrepancy. But point being, like I didn't really have to think about it. Where if it was beginning of the year, I'd be like, ooh man, like which one of these guys do I like most? Because they're probably two of the younger wide receivers I was highest on.
You passed on getting Brian uh, the
Brian
LSU guy.
Thomas Jr.
Get Brian Thomas. I wanted to say Thompson. I was wrong. Brian Thomas. So you kept JSM as opposed to getting Brian Thompson Jr.
Yeah, this was offered to me
Okay.
this morning, I think.
I would have to say that that's what I would have done as well at this point.
So, anyways, like that's we'll see. I what I'm like, it's really it's really weird because for him not to be successful with Leon Cohen, it just feels off, right? Like, I mean, Leon Cohen would get Godwin the ball, he would get Evans the ball, he'd get anyone the ball.
Yeah.
So, but it's not just that he doesn't look that good. I pulled up on a couple routes that it looks like he's sick of getting hospital balls. So I think Lawrence had a pick that he slowed up on because I think he didn't want to get hit. I don't know what's going on there, but it's
I'd give him a little grace. We've talked about with other,
we will. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and I'm nervous. I'm a little nervous about
you
my
would
boy
think like
Brian Thomas
having
Jr.
like Travis Hunter there and like he's not even playing all that much offense. We can talk about that a little bit, but you would think that it would help him like take some of the pressure off of him, but it seems like maybe he's just pushing too hard to repeat and like being able to do it consistently year over year. But yeah, like the drop on that touchdown, which was probably a game winner, and then some of those balls, it's just like, yeah, not going for it. I'm good. That's Amon St. Brown catches those balls. Like he's going in there and put. I don't know. It's too early to say, but yeah, it's a little scary considering everybody was like putting him above. I mean, some of the elite receivers in the league.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure. My third
I
guy is probably too early to like concede this big of an L. But I was like, I think I was on record saying that I thought Nate Landman was going to get cut. And then he got
yeah
100% snaps in the green dot. Now, to be fair, for his volume, his production isn't that great, but he's got the volume, so that stuff can just come. I think he's 24th overall on linebackers, but still, it's like I mean I'll give you a little bonus round, and we'll stay in the linebackers. Like Devin White, I would have bet a lot of money Devin White wasn't getting that job.
yeah.
He's starting, and he's got the green dot, and he plays 100% of snaps. And neither of these guys look good, and it's just so weird because like I don't understand it. It's like maybe they're just like, well, they're cheap and we got to use them, and maybe they're stashing guys that they like more to make sure they're healthy for the playoffs. I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
but
tough,
Devin
man.
White, Devin White's numbers aren't good. Landman's are a little better as far as his grading is
I have
concerned, but it kind of
Landman in two leagues, so I was like, when you said that, my balls just dropped a little bit. I was like, but my evaluating of linebackers this year has not been great, so I tend to lean towards what you're saying and listen. So I don't know.
man, they get so hurt though. It's for keep it snappy, but I just like the situations with linebackers right now are super crazy.
I
It's going to be
offered
a wild segment.
not to go back on that JSM for Brian Thompson. Jeez, I want to say Thompson. What is wrong with me? I know a Brian Thompson. That's Thomas is I offered Marvin Harrison Jr. for Roma Dunze in another league and got swiftly rejected. Imagine like making that trade offer last year and like that's an instant someone saying yes.
What a difference three
I
games
can't I
makes.
can't get my hands on Roma Dunze anywhere.
Nah,
It's fine.
because everyone's going to be like, nah, it's the Amar St. Brown.
I
right?
just want this stack. I want this stack with Caleb in all four of my leagues, and it's just not, people. But I have Burden. I have Burden in a lot of them, so I guess I got to ride that. Anyway, all right. Let's jump into just kind of some stock market evaluation of the draft class. I'm just going to throw out a name for you. You just tell me up or down, and I'll do the same as far as which way we're ticking here. We can't. I don't think we can get past number one with Ashton Gente.
Yeah,
Up or down?
down.
Has to be down for me too. Obviously not moving off of that value, and I still would take him number one overall. But man, I watched that game. I think he's going to have a big week against the Bears. Just putting that on record. I think he's going to get 80 yards plus because that again is a very leaky run defense. If he doesn't, he's in trouble a little bit this year. I just like some of it. I don't know if it's his demeanor or something that is off, but I think it was a primetime game and he was playing and he had that horrible kind of Olay block, and then just kind of stood there
Dude,
and watched Gino get lit up. I'm like, dude.
he's number two to Isaiah Pacheco on like, what in the fuck are you doing?
I mean that was
Plays on
bad.
X. No, but he's got so many, and it's
And
like
that was
he's young.
after Ben. That
He's
was
a
right
rookie. It's
after he
fine.
turned the wrong way on the handoff. It was the same game, like within three
Yes,
or four plays of each other. Like he's like, oh shit, and then just stood there. I
but
mean,
that's a
he's had
rookie.
some runs.
He's got a rookie. He's a rookie, so that's excusable. He's explosive and he's looked good on runs, so he's not a bust by any means. But it's like he's got some red flaggy shit that gets you out of the game, and then all of a sudden like, some
Well, when
vet is
Zamir
in there
White's your
because they
third down back, and he's beating you out on third down, and then
Dylan Labe was
Dylan
getting
Labe as
fucking
a
run, dude.
2 minute guy is not good. Like because you need to have him catching 4 or 5 balls a game to return that volume, and if like he's not getting those touches and he's averaging 3 yards a carry, he has 71 yards of total rushing, I think, on the year, and all 71 are after contact.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I mean, that's a crazy stat. He has not had a single rush where he hasn't been contacted behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, obviously that
The NFL
includes
though.
negative plays, but you might have one or two that have,
It's really
started.
surprising for a Pete Carroll run team that they wouldn't be able to get good holes open for him. So that could change really soon.
I hope they figure out how to get the ball to him and Brock Bowers because two very talented players that they need to build their offense around, not have too
And
many
Brock
more
played
games.
hurt. Brock was
Yeah,
clearly
I know.
hurt that last
Yeah,
game.
I mean, he's still a stud. I would love to have Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
All right, let's do number two, Ted McMillan. I'd have to say the stock market is up for me on him. Like I think he's performing.
Not only is he up, but if we were doing rookies in the like, and we could do it. I mean, right now, like I was wrong on Tet,
He
because
looks like a
I
dog.
thought.
He looks like
Well,
a dog.
I think I was really honestly had him like sixth or seventh in the wide receiver class
Mm.
personally. Maybe not that low, but I had him. Let's see, I'll do it right now. I had him below Hunter. I had him below uh, Mbuka, Golden,
Well, you're not wrong on the Ibuka one, so
Burden.
that's okay.
So I probably had him six, and I think he's two now. So with the potential to be, as good. Like all the stuff I was a little worried that he wouldn't be able to do. I've seen him do. So
I think we need to be very careful at the wide receivers, but he is an instant one on his team right now, and I think that's what you want with the second overall pick at the wide receiver position, and he's not going to give that up anywhere else. So if you look at Mbuka, he probably has the ability to be the number one moving forward, and he's performed like it, especially with the Evans injury. I think he's going to see an uptick. That's a great draft pick. Um, but outside of that, like I don't know of any of the other receivers within the next 2 years that are going to be wide receiver one on their team. I liked what I saw out of Burden last week. He's starting to get more involved, and I think he's got the skill set to be pretty solid. But that Roma Dunze or Caleb to Dunze connection's not going anywhere anytime soon. So, all right, let's just keep going with the top few, and then we'll bounce around a little bit. Travis Hunter, I'd have to say he's down for me just because of the wide receiver snaps. You'd have to see him getting 5, 6 targets a game on offense, like even at early as a rookie, like to be returning top three value, and he's not getting that. And it seems like
But
they're
he is
moving that.
returning top three value. Doesn't matter. His points are still the same as Tet, dude. Like,
That's
that's what's
true. That's true.
insane.
That's true.
That's
That's a good
what's
point.
insane, man. Like,
Yeah.
when you think about it, we're like as far as real football is concerned, and if you drafted him in an offense only league, now granted, maybe he hasn't scored that much in tackles, but he
It's hard to
definitely
say.
hasn't been super elite in that aspect, and he's still been okay.
He's
You
been
know what I
considered
mean?
10, 10, and 13, Uh, so he's getting you 10 points a game. I don't know how much of that's coming on defense, but first week he played I think he had 6 targets
Yeah,
the
dude,
first.
he had 4 tackles, 2 assists last game, 1 reception for 21 yards. So it's like he
So
sucked ass at a wide receiver, and then he was an awesome
still got you
quarterback.
8 points at cornerback.
But here's the thing that's even crazier about this when he and this is gonna be wild to see because his target rate when he is in at cornerback, it's not 100%, but it's fucking close. Like meaning the second he checks in,
They want to go after him.
the offense coordinators go right at him. But that's where you get 4 tackles and 2 assists as a fucking outside corner because
Yeah.
people are there because they're picking on you. But so this is what I mean. Like, so we're sitting here going like, man, he sucks ass as far as offense is concerned,
Doesn't
you
matter.
know.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And it's like, oh, well, here it is. There's a pass defend, 2 tackles the game before, 3 receptions, 22 yards. Man, like, what if those wide receiver numbers go up a little bit and maybe he gets a pick here and there? Like, I don't know. I agree. Like, I agree. This is probably a disappointing result for him. But think about what that means for his floor. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. I think there's room for improvement. You're right, and no matter what happens if he starts returning punts or kickoffs and he just plays defense? He's still getting 20 points a game. I mean, there's kick returners and punt returners that are scoring 10 without even touching the field on offense. He's playing defense 80% of the time and just returns
Corey,
kicks.
I forgot to give my favorite stat about Brian Thomas Jr.
Go ahead.
Do you know who is directly ahead of him in points scored this year? Miles Price, the returner for the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, BC, we gotta love you. What a pickup!
Well,
All right.
just we'll get into this later, but man, we need a really deep dive on this returning stuff, man. Like I was looking even at the wide receivers. It's just mind blowing how many top guys are returners.
Yep, it's going to be a big factor. Maybe Vito sees Watkins as their primary kick returner and punt returner. Hey, there we go.
If that's the case, then he's probably worth 2 first rounders.
Yeah, probably at least Max Crosby straight up. Um, all right. Let's just pair these next running backs and just talk briefly about them. Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, R.J. Harvey, and Quentin Judkins were the next 5 people taken. I'd have to say the only one that is trending up, or two up, is Hampton and Judkins. Based off of two things, Hampton now has the full workload
Yeah,
more than
Harris,
likely.
RIP.
Yeah, and then Judkins, he's overcome the preseason shit and looks to be legit,
Yeah,
even
he
though he's a
looks really
Brown.
good. I liked
So
him.
I'd have to say I'm up on them, and then Caleb Johnson I'm way down on. Travion Henderson I'm down on based off of even getting the touches that he got. There was just so much hype going into the season and after preseason, and he didn't do much with the touches he got last week. I think it's a little scary for anybody other than Mike, who has Ramondre, that they just would not go to him even after Ramondre fumbled, and then
He
shit,
fumbled twice, and then
well,
they went to Gibson.
they went to Gibson. It's just like,
Yeah,
man, are you
not
not
good.
creating plan designs for Henderson to get the ball in space or something to like?
I still I still personally wouldn't say he's trending down because he still has so much upside. He had a
Yeah,
great camp, and I like really believe that it's a matter of time.
I agree.
Just do well. I say that, but Josh McDaniels is a fucking asshole. With his usage on running backs, we forget how not fun he's
But I
always
was
been
hearing
trying to
people calling
predict.
him Gibbs Light, and that was just a travesty when I heard it. Bill Simmons can fuck off with all that shit. He's not
Bill
Gibbs Light.
Simmons.
Yeah.
Bill Simmons
Uh,
is as homer of a homer as you ever see in sports.
for sure. RJ Harvey, I don't think either one of us were high on him, but that has to be a trend down at this point with, obviously we're giving all these guys time. But man, you
He's
kind of
still
do.
he's still getting run, but it might just take time. Yeah, I think he had a good enough camp, and there was a lot of. But like again, man, like all these guys, they're all liars, man.
Yeah.
Every single one of these fucking coaches come out and talk about what they're gonna do and who they love, and like they're gonna get them the ball, and then all of a sudden it's like they play 20% snaps, and you're like, what the fuck is actually happening?
Well,
Like
there's
what?
definitely an adjustment period, but I think you kind of see the guys that are going to be elite pretty early, and there's always busts in the top 10 and 12 at the running back position. So there's some red
I
flags
think
with some.
Caleb Johnson's the only one that's got a risk of being a bust, just because he's like
At this point,
doing
I'd have to agree with
he's
that,
doing
unfortunately.
he's doing dumb shit on a no nonsense team. Well, I say no nonsense, but the whole fucking team's nonsense. But like honestly, like Mike Tomlin's not going to put up with the shit that is that's
Yeah, he had a stupid kickoff return play, like well, okay, whatever.
yeah. And then I think he fumbled on his
He's had
first
no
carry too, didn't he?
he he's had no touches, like so it's hard to evaluate him, and it's just like okay, so something he's doing is not earning snaps or touches. We'll see how the season progresses if Pittsburgh doesn't win ball games and Aaron Rodgers isn't a god and in control of it. He certainly doesn't want anybody in there other than Jalen Warren and Gainwell. And I just have to believe that Caleb Johnson's a better overall running back than Kenneth Gainwell. But if they don't trust him, he's not going to play, and that's the bottom line. So, Ibuka, I mean, man, I wish I would have. He just looks good. He just looks really good and polished and just professional and sexy, and I like him.
So
So
he's take the talent. I thought he was the most talented wide receiver in this draft.
and most
And it's
pro ready
like,
probably.
yeah, I just like, man, I watched him play. He looked like Garrett Wilson. He just looks like one of those
He looks
dudes.
smooth and big and
And
just
then you're like, well, Mike Evans and Godwin and McMahon, and then it's like everyone gets hurt. Now he's number one. But even before that, I mean, he was just like, they wouldn't have been able to keep him off the field.
yeah.
And now he's like, he's
All right,
going to be a league winner.
we're gonna rapid fire a few more names. Matthew Golden, up or down?
Down for sure, considering like the hype was like he's the number one, he's in two guys, and then like same thing. It's just like Josh McDaniels, though they just refuse to commit to wide receivers or have any type of fucking cohesion in their wide receiving core, and
Yep.
so we'll see.
He's
I think he's got some big games coming up, but like I didn't think it would be this like what do you call
slow
it?
start.
No, it feels like it's just going to be Green Bay, like it's going to be like here's a 6 point game and here's a 28 point game and here's you know what I mean, like shit like that where you're like starting a guy and he gets a good game and then he gets a bad game. You can never predict it. In BC that doesn't matter as much, but when you have leagues where you're benching guys, like everyone's going to bench Matthew Golden, they'll probably go for 35 this week. And then
I
everyone will
offered
put him in, and then he'll probably get like 8 points. It
I
just
offered
feels like
T Higgins for him straight up in a 16-team league and was told I would rather have the younger, cheaper, better receiver. So there you go. Colston Loveland, up or down? I'll say neutral on that. I think time will tell for a rookie tight end, but at this point you'd have to take Tyler Warren in his situation over
yeah, he's down because the fact that Warren was taken but after him now
correct.
looks like a travesty.
And I mean, Harold Fannin has looked pretty good, but I think you have to give even more so than receivers and running backs grace to tight ends. But I think that Loveland will end up producing big numbers as the year goes on and into his future. Tyler Warren up on, well, I mean, neutral but up. I would say that he is kind of who
Way
I
up,
thought he would be.
dude.
Yeah, he's who I thought he would be. Very valuable
Top
pick as
10,
well.
he's top 10 out the gate, and like he looks like Gronk, dude. I mean, he looks huge out there. He catches shit. He's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, Trey Harris, I'm down on. It's not a good situation for him, I don't think, right now. Luther Burden, I'm up on. He's everything I kind of thought he would be. It seems like he's been challenged a lot, and big play capabilities. He looks like a wide receiver one or two in this league. I'm fine
After
with.
3 catches,
It's something about the kick returns and just the explosiveness. Some of the like when the catch and turn things that he's done. He's caught everything thrown his way. I I've watched a lot of Luther Bird, and I think he's going to be just fine and might be one of the top four receivers in this class when it's all said and done. Jaden Higgins, I'm down on. I mean, it's the fact that Xavier Hutchinson is playing ahead of him in snaps right now. Like, I don't get it. Time will tell. But more concerning is just that offense in general, and it's just in bad shape.
I'll tell you
So
why he's playing ahead of him. Because fucking Stroud doesn't have more than 1.2 seconds to throw the ball. And
yeah,
I've been
yeah,
saying this all fucking year. Play the defense against Houston. Like, dude, like, Houston's defense is going to be able to win them some games, but that offensive line is something that you need to, like, fire everyone over. It's
yeah.
that bad.
All right, we can't do this all day because this will take forever. Couple of other highlights for me. Got to be up on Cam Scadaboo and Bashal Tootin. Tootin with the trade, I think, has a real shot to produce decent numbers this year. Cam Scadaboo just looks like Cam Scadaboo, and I think if he gets the
Well,
opportunity there,
he has the opportunity. Tracy's got a dislocated shoulder. I
yeah,
don't think
that's
Singletary is doing shit, so.
they love him there. Fan favorite. Schlesinger, huge game last week. That's exciting to take a linebacker. A good decision by Fleece to take number one linebacker in the
I think
class
all
at
three of
20.
those top linebackers are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and they were good picks.
Jack Betch has to be a down. Jahad Campbell is an up for me. He looks part to me. Demetrius Knight's starting. Um, Thoughts on any of those guys?
Of well, Beck, yeah, way down. Abdul Carter is he hasn't scored a lot yet, but they're using him kind of like Micah Parsons. So he played like a lot of like coverage shit. Like it's really a lot of faith in his athleticism. So I think it's a matter of time before
Really
he's.
don't like his jersey number. I don't know why he went with 54. It's a weird one.
It is kind of weird.
Let's pick a Harold Fannin Jr. by Mighty Orphans, number 30. I think that's been an amazing return so far and looks to be the
Yeah,
part.
I mean, I liked him, right? But you just like, well, there's Njoku, and it's going to take time. So, I certainly had Mason Taylor and Elijah Arroyo over him, and where Mason Taylor, I would bet that Mason Taylor has a very good game this week with Tyrod Taylor. He plays enough snaps to have a good game. He starts where Elijah Arroyo's in a snap share, so he's not quite there yet. And then Devontae Thornton's probably up a little bit. I mean, I don't know. We thought this was way too high. Or no, I thought Jeff. Oh no, yeah, we said Thornton was too high. He's probably, I
How
guess, about
about
right.
these three guys I think are interesting? We got Io Manor, Dyke, and Isaac Tesla, and then you got your boy Horton. All seem to be returning great value thus far, in my opinion.
Well, Dikey because of the return game. Horton because of both, right? Horton's, I think, well, let's start with Alec Alamar. I've been making money betting his over wide receiving receptions props. That's been fun. I'm not going to stop. It's one every week. And you should too, because he's the number two wide receiver, and he's probably better than even, he's playing
Ridley.
better than Calvin Ridley.
Thank you for
Um,
pointing that out.
it's yeah, hey man, I got some Calvin Ridley. I'm not very happy about that, but I don't know, man. Like I knew he was good in Stanford, and like I didn't get enough of him. I have some of him. I'm very happy I have some of him. But I probably should have trusted my gut and gotten more just based off what he, just sheer numbers games. When guys are good against elite competition and they have the highest numbers, and you just kind of go, well, I don't know.
Krosky Merritt, we got to say, he's got a big bump.
Old Bill.
Old
Yeah, I
Bill.
mean, but that's frustrating too. Like I have him in a bunch of leagues, and it's like you're like, okay, cool, he's getting me 30 points this week, and then all of a sudden inactive for through 2 games. Chris Thompson starts, and then it's Jeremy McNichols vultures a touchdown, and then you're like, what is happening here?
That was a faulty handoff too. It wasn't even supposed to go to him. What a run though. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
I like that. Yeah.
I think, we covered a lot of folks, but those four wide receivers are competing for the most points scored other than Omarion Hampton and Mbuka. Tesla's not, but the other three are kind of right in there in that top 10, 15 range as far as points scored by rookies. And Cam Scatterbu has scored 40 as well. Good return on
Yeah.
value from those guys.
I do have. I wanted to check to make sure, but I think I do have the number one safety
Xavier Watts.
from. Yeah, Xavier Watts has been really good, and his usage is really good. Like a lot in the box. They only like kind of thought they might. I was afraid they might stick him more in free safety. He's only playing 20% in the free safety spot. Everything else, he's in the box from the slot, and then
Yeah, just 4 picks before me when I got forced to take Sebastian Castro because you stole my Watts, man. Thanks, appreciate that. Alrighty, well that was our stock market review of rookie draft picks. We'll dig into that a little bit further on into the season as well. Some good ones and some questionable ones, and wait and see ones as well. So. Let's move into some power ranking talk about BC and where people are at so far after 3 games. Still very early. So I'm not sure how you broke this down, Ben, but I went through and just kind of handpicked teams that are either 3-0 and 2-1, and then there's a bunch of teams that are 2-1 that have a lot less points scored. So I left some of those guys off. Based off of total points on the season, which will be greatly impacted after week 4, by the way. Last Great American Dynasty has scored the most points and through the first week at a 711, and he's 3-0. Then you have, let's see, Hard Knocks and Mandy. No, I'm sorry. Talladega Charlie has scored 666 and is also 3-0. You have to hope that you round up on that 666 number. I think it's 666.7, so we'll call it 667. And then Penn at 659, all 3-0 teams. Do you see any kind of pretenders in that top 3 as far as total points? I'm sorry, Missouri Milkman has scored 692, and Baltimore BDs has scored 682, but they're 2-1 teams. So some teams are scoring some points against tough competition and have lost. I got super lucky to beat Baltimore BD. I don't know how I've beaten Warren and Baltimore BD, and then lost to the Sausage King. But that's fantasy.
yeah. So far, I think the Ivy League's like pretty disappointing as far as like probably more than what we expected. So it's last American Dynasty, and then I don't know how much I would believe in those 2-1 results after that. There's not a lot of points scored there. You know what I mean? It's great to
Well,
get wins.
Flea seems to be a little bit of a pretender with his 2-1 record. Beefy Brutes has got a 2-1 record with both of those guys scoring 520 and 515 respectively. I don't think that holds up over the course of tougher competition. Their points against are 519 and 461. Bishop Down has scored 593, so he's in the top 12, 13, and 2-1. I think his team is pretty good, and we maybe have overlooked him a little bit, except for the Chase, Jamar Chase situation that could hurt him. But Flowers has performed. He's got some linebackers. I think he has your boy Devin White that you talked about earlier. He's getting some points out of return game people. The dude from Seattle, I can't remember his name. Anyway, I obviously looked at my brother's team a little bit more than others, but yeah, that division kind of, other than Last Great American Dynasty and Bishop Down, I don't see it being super competitive as the season goes on against tougher competition. Lazy Bears is up there. He's 2-1 with 628 points. Michigan Wolverines 2-1 with 631, and Missouri Milkman 2-1 with
That whole
692.
division's filthy, man. They're all putting up points. Like
Yeah,
they're
they're
all putting up points. I mean, even Hard Knocks is 1-2 with 660. So it's like, in these leagues, I think I hope people watching do understand that there is such thing as a good loss, and that's when you
oh yeah.
score 200 plus points, because the tiebreaker of points comes down a lot in this league when it comes to
Well,
getting playoff
let's
berths.
let's look at Hard Knocks because that's a great example of let's see how he's getting points. Okay, so he has Jonathan Taylor, amazing, 83 points. I think he's leading fantasy football running back. Isaiah Pacheco so far down. Okay, he's got the Raiders QB, no big deal. Tyquan Thornton scored him 40 points. That's more than every single. I think all my wide receivers combined so far. So
Yeah.
that's a throw in
Franklin's been
surprise.
Franklin's been great.
Troy Franklin, valuable assets.
Evans.
Stefon Diggs not performing to his potential level. Mike Evans is hurt, so that could hurt, right? Like so, if he continues to get points from surprising places, like he has a chance to compete. Now, will that hold up? You don't know, right? But right now, it's he could be a 3-0 team with all those points scored. Um, so yeah, that's interesting for sure. Uh, Cam Akers actually got signed by Minnesota too, right? Because he might get some snaps. Interesting.
I don't think he'll get much. I think it's Xavier Scott's season.
Let's see. Last Great American Dynasty. Zach Charbonnet not performing well. He's got Bijan. He's got JSM and Brian Thomas Jr., who you have to say is not performing well, but he's got Cavante Turpin, who scored almost fucking 50 points.
Return
Um,
yards.
Return yards, baby. Uh, so again, the points can come from all different levels, and you got to figure Brian Thomas Jr. is going to put some games up there. And if you have that 1-2 punch, and then Turpin as a number 3, that's a pretty damn good wide receiving core now. Charbonnet, I think, is going to probably finish strong at some point in the season. So he's got a pretty explosive offense. James Pierce, the rookie, not really getting any points. Myles Garrett scored 55 points. I think he's one of the top 2 defensive ends, if not number 1. Uh, so I would say he's a real contender at this point. Outside of, you know, um, he doesn't have any running back depth, but who really does other than Warren? And he didn't even have to give up one to snag Max Crosby. So the rich get richer, but he's 1-2.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's got a good enough roster,
Byron
and like
Murphy, he has also got Byron Murphy's I think the number 1 defensive tackle in the league at this point, or pretty close. Interesting. Penn,
weird.
I think, is someone that we have to talk about who's always solid, and I think obviously you got the number 1 quarterback in the Bills. A Chain is A Chain. Gordon looks strong behind him. He's also not getting punished by Ramondre Stevenson and Rashad White, who have both been pretty productive in roles that I thought they maybe would like kind of relinquish a little bit. Rashad White's actually looked pretty decent. Sean Tucker hasn't done much, and he still has him, so that's a strong running back room. St. Brown is just slaying. McLaurin is hurt, seeking second opinion, so that could be interesting. Jermaine Burton is not doing anything, but Rashad Bateman's kind of a good number 3. He's struggling a little bit at tight end because of likely not playing yet. But Penn's solid. That's where his depth is gonna. I mean, his
Guys are coming up, and there will be hell to pay.
yeah. I think
Buy luck is a real thing, and I don't know who's our analyst, Harley. But what's Harley's new name? New Daily
New Day Co-op.
Co-op.
Yeah.
New Day Co-op. I mean, is there a way to like get in some sort of analysis of how advantageous? Because I've had years where I swear to God, every single week the guy I played had no buys. And then I've had years where like, oh, I'm playing a guy who can't even field a running back. This is nice. You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like that comes it comes like it's like injury luck. You know, it's part of the schedule making where you just happen to be like, oh, cool. Justin Jefferson and like all these guys are on bye. Like whoever's playing me week 6, I think is when our bye. Week 7, what is our bye? Week 6. I have so many fucking Vikings. Yeah, if you are playing old Jesus week 6, you're gonna be in a good spot.
Yeah, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble too. I've hit some injuries specifically to the linebackers. I'm not getting any points out of my offensive players. Higgins, Ridley, Robinson. I mean, it's just I don't even know how I'm 2-1 at this point. I get a kind of a layup game. I'm confident saying that next week, but then after that, it's like bye weeks hit, and if I don't get some healthy production out of my offense, I'm looking at a 500, maybe 8-6 type record this year, which is fine. I mean, and it can shake in a lot of different directions. I think you just have to have those spike weeks where you have enough depth that your performers that you know, like for me, it's like Higgins and Ridley. Like at some point, they have to have a good game, and then you just have to have some solid guys like again, like don't overlook defensive end. I had two 40-point defensive ends that are kind of carrying my weight, and my defensive
Well,
tackles that have scored.
what you really need, Corey, what you really need is to have the defensive player of the week and a cornerback go for 42 points.
Oh yeah.
That one will help.
Hey, my
Or
waiver
Isaiah
wire Deshaun
Rogers.
Wright got me 11 last week, which was I didn't think I'd get any points out of. My safeties are scoring 2 points a game off of I don't know special teams tackles.
Better
Hey,
than zero. I got guys getting special teams tackles. No shame. No shame in special teams tackles.
oh man, I had Karlaftis somehow score 25 last week. I mean, it's just you get points from everybody. Like, so I think that's something that we have to like this return game thing. Like, it's going to completely change strategies going into next year. That was not a part of our analysis when looking at teams either. And some of these guys that are just coming out of the woodworks, and even some of the rookie players that we mentioned already, scoring 30 points and outproducing half the fucking top 15 wide receivers like Brian Thomas Jr. And it's
Dude,
like,
I picked up Connington, I think his name is, the cornerback for Buffalo, and not in this league, but in BC, but in a bunch of these other leagues. And I just keep starting him over like 100% snap cornerbacks because he gets 10 points a game off of returns. It's like, don't you just want 10 points out of your cornerback? Why get greedy? Well, unless you have Isaiah Rogers, then I guess you can be greedy.
that shit, I was just laughing. I was just like, not one, not two, but I'm just like, oh man,
Jesus, man.
Ben's just,
He saved that touchdown. I don't know if you saw or were watching, Corey, but like there was a back of the end zone throw to T Higgins that looked like it was a touchdown, and he just got his finger on it to deflect it, but it was like early in the game. So I mean, he was balled out. I think I saw that he has quarterbacks have a 19.2 QBR rating against him.
wow.
Not great, Bob.
So let's look at some of the matchups going into a pivotal week 4 before the buys. So we have last Great American Dynasty facing off against Baltimore BDs, 3-0 versus a 2-1 team. Right now, the LGADBNV is a 94% probability, which that means very little. Their quarterbacks are predicted to score 43 and 36 between the Ravens and the Jets. So let that be a word of caution to you. But that's a big matchup, especially for our division. If BD goes 2-2, that should be helpful for me. I'm going to go ahead and predict that. I'm going to predict LG. D, B, and V is going to win that one. CD Lamb is out. That hurts. Uh, Man, how does CD Lamb and Wandale Robinson get exactly 0 points for BD last week? That is just that's rough. They got
Yeah.
zero. Oh man, I got lucky, very lucky.
Yeah, I think this
Uh,
is going to be. I think Dynasty's going to keep rolling. We'll see. I
Penn's
mean,
got a layup.
$1 might be. We'll see what the Jackson Dart Loaf looks like.
Mandy squaring up against Missouri Milkman, two of the top 650 plus scorers in the
Might be
league.
the
That's a good matchup.
might be the match of the week. I think they're. Oh well, Tyrone Tracy got hurt, so it hurts Missouri a little bit. But I think they're both pretty healthy. I was just looking at it.
Yeah, he has to start Tracy because he doesn't have any other running backs. Boy, he's just so thin, though, man. This is the thing that I get worried about. It's like, okay, he's got Ian Monner, Matthew Golden, and Quentin Johnson. What if Quentin Johnson has doesn't have 2 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown? It's like they're projecting Matthew Golden to score 16 points, and he scored 16 on the season, right? I mean, it's just like he's got Tyler Warren. I mean, but it's like, what do you do? Oh, those are the
Told you
guys he
he's
start.
gonna get 35 from
I'm
Matthew
sorry,
Golden this
he
week.
can
So
start Israel Abakanada, who's gotten 0 points. So he's getting a scratch at running back. He's got Thielen and Lockett. So I'm sorry, he does have some depth. I would have to take Mandy in this matchup just based off of his running backs alone, though.
yeah, I think so too. But it's gonna be a fun one.
Let's see, what else do we got here? What are we overlooking? Talladega Charlie versus Baby Jesus. That one looks like a 2-1 team. Baby Jesus is 2-1 as well, and has scored some
Yeah.
points.
Michigan versus Candy's pretty good. Candy's one
I
and
think
two,
so
but he
too.
scored a lot of points. He scored a
Candy's
lot of
uh
points, so
Candy's team looks pretty solid. I wouldn't want to face
yeah.
him right now, and I think he could easily be 2-1. Um, but I think the matchup of the week has to be that
Mando Milkman.
Mando and Milkman,
Yeah.
based off the total
Bishop
points.
Bishop down and KC
Oh,
Machine
that's
be pretty
another
good
good
too.
one. That is a
Yeah.
good one too. Yeah. Another important one. I get KC Mean Machine next week. I'm not looking forward to that matchup. Bishop down. We're going to see if he's a pretender or a contender, I think, this week. KC with a 90% win probability. Let's break this down. He's got Algier starting at running back, who's interesting, and Kareem Hunt. That's pretty much it's slightly in his favor. He's got the Colts quarterback, which is the MVP of the league so far, versus the Browns. So that's his matchup. His wide receiver core is much better. Well, no, the wide receiver core is pretty even. Interesting. Olave, Zay Flowers, Eskridge, who's the guy I couldn't think of for Miami. I'm sorry, not Seattle. He's getting 10 points a game off of returns. And he's got Chase versus Adams, Malik Neighbors, Sutton, and Malik Washington, who has been pretty decent this year. But KC has the best tight end in fantasy right now, Jake Ferguson, I believe. Is that not true? I think that is true.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be.
Pretty close. He had like 12 catches last week against the Bears. Interesting matchup. I don't know who I'm going to take in this one. Yeah, I'm gonna back my brother. I'm gonna back my brother Justin, and I hope he pulls out a win here. Good matchup.
Yeah. I think KC's just a tough team to beat.
Yeah, he's got a good squad. He's got a good squad. Are we missing anything here? Jesus, who do you got? What's going on with your team? How do you feel about it? I'm gonna give you my honest opinion.
Uh, I'm probably where I had myself at the 12th best team before I made an adjustment and moved myself up. Now it probably better be to back down. It's
Yeah,
a fringe playoff team, but the Aaron Jones injury hurts, but he'll be back. And luckily, I got lucked out in getting Zayvon Scott, who is the number two. And then some wide receivers worked out.
You're starting
So
3 Minnesota wide receivers, baby. You gotta love that. Gotta love
yeah,
that.
I don't. I mean, I don't know if I will this week because I might still. Because Jordan Addison's coming back, but I'm playing Miles Price in that kick return game all day. And then I have
This is
Xavier
kind of a
Smith.
must-win game for you, though, isn't it? Not a must-win, but I mean, what do you have to
Well,
finish to make the
it's
playoffs?
easy.
What do you have to make?
That's a if you can't like here's the thing. There are teams, and I'm going to go ahead and put myself there tentatively, that cannot win these points for races that have started so far. Unless
Right.
guys really start reducing, like
Yeah.
these are really high point totals. And so unless like I have some guys really start to go off, which I could, but like two things need to happen. You need to start winning you need to win everything, or you need to just start scoring more points.
So
And
here's the deal. So let's just break that down, just because I'm not even sure I'm clear. So the top four, the winner of the division get an automatic in, right? And that's based off of record and then points, total points, and then head-to-head matchup. And then after that, it's open to record first and then points, total points.
correct.
Correct. So if
Yep.
you're in a tough division and you go 9-6, and there's another division they've scored 200 points or 300 points left of the season, they go 10-5. Or I'm sorry, those numbers don't add up. But whatever, it's 14 games.
Yeah.
So 8-6 versus a 9-5.
Yeah, but then like remember, in playoff seeding, it's points for. Unless we
Right.
voted to change that, I don't think that ever got voted to get changed. So what that means is you could be 15-1, but once you get in the playoffs, whoever has the highest score gets better seeds. But we did it to, but we did it where the divisions get the bye. I think that's how we address this. So then it's the remaining teams that get seeded by
I think it's
points.
going
So
to
it's
get
not as big a
crazy,
deal.
crazy, crazy tight at the end of the year. I think there's going to be a lot of teams there's going to be a few teams that are pretty dominant, and then there's going to be teams that are trying to squeak in out of like 20 teams, maybe 18, all with roughly the same. Points are going to be a pivotal part of that for sure. I would
Hey
put
man, I
myself
got
in
like
the same category
eight
as you.
guys on an IR, and I'm still somehow managing.
Yeah, you got to hope that you win the easy ones. It's like what I said, like being able to beat Bad Boys and BD, like which I probably didn't have any reason to beat them that week. Like I'll trade one of those off where I don't really think that Abe's team's better than mine, but I could have easily started 0-3 and been in a lot of trouble. So it's going to be a battle. I don't have a lot of moves to make. Nobody will deal with me. Hey, Vito, do you want to move any other pieces? Let me know, buddy. I'm here for you.
Yeah, me too. Doors open.
The back door.
Doors open to anyone who wants to fire sale players.
Yeah. I think I got a couple upside wide receivers that were taken in the third or fourth round that I would be able to move for starting pieces if anybody's interested. I'll get a couple. All right, my man. I think that's it for the show today. I think our energy level was at a 6, but we did the damn
That's
thing.
generous.
We're trying, man. This is.
Some days are better than others,
I
man.
think
I had a
everybody has to
long day.
understand that
It
between.
doesn't help our energy to like just about start this damn thing for the first time in 2 weeks, and we like staring at a trade that neither of us can
I
possibly
actually like that piece of it.
understand.
I actually like pieces. I stand my ground on what I said. I haven't checked the chat since, but to me, it's a bad trade, and it is what it is. I expected more out of Dan with knowing how this league works and the dynamics of it, but he's his own man. So you do you, boo. Yeah, just for everybody.
Warren's a big favorite this week,
Yeah, I
just in
would
case you
wonder why
didn't see.
he's. I don't think he's going to go 1-4 or 1-3. Um, so everybody understands. Ben and I are trying to do our best. I think we obviously both could be better analysts if we spent hours doing this, like some of the other people. I don't have that time, so you're getting a lot of spitballing, trying to do a few segments here and there. I wish we were more organized, but we're here and we're showing up and we're trying to do it. Uh, we can definitely figure out a way to clean up some of these segments so we're not just bouncing around talking. Or maybe we just start talking and just see where it goes and don't have any structure. Maybe that's just better for us so we don't have to
Probably
prepare at
better
all.
that way.
We're definitely not as nasty as we used to be. I do miss some of that.
Well, it just I don't I'm not I we're doing this cute on a Wednesday. I'm usually not drinking too much, so
Yeah.
it doesn't get as frisky as it used to be.
Still
I'll
looking for
try and
guests. Maybe that'll spice
I'll
it up. Dan, you want to come
I'll
on
try
and
and
defend
sauce it
that
up.
trade, buddy? Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear
Maybe
about
maybe
that
that's all
trade.
we need is a little interaction from our fellow GMs. But either way, it's a fun season
Well,
so
Corey,
far.
real quick, since we don't even have time for Keep It Snappy because we spent an hour too long on some of the other subjects, I will just simply say that there are insane positions to monitor. One is the Jets linebacker position. One is
God,
the
thanks.
Giants linebacker position. They're everyone's out and hurt. So we didn't learn a lot from the Giants because they picked up like three guys, and then the Jets have like I think maybe a rookie's going to play there. They picked up a couple guys, so I've been like kind of watching like who's getting added to the system because the one thing I'll say without getting super long winded was once upon a time when there were three starting linebackers, that meant there were two guys who usually could fill in these roles, right? And so like you lose a guy, it's okay, and like the fill-ins are more, but like nobody's starting more than a linebacker or two. And like some of these, when they get in a bind like this, instead of bringing the next linebacker up, they're just like filling in, like the Giants did it with Abdul Carter, and we're like, you go in coverage, let's see if that works.
Right.
Didn't really work that great, but I just more and more I do this segment and look at linebackers and the percentages that exist. Here's another one, Harley. Can you find out how many snaps were taken by middle linebackers or marked linebackers in the last like 2 years versus like I don't know 5 years ago?
Mm.
I just can't. I think like a priority vote, and I know we can't do it because of roster construction. I think it should be start two linebackers and have another flex.
Yeah.
I don't think it's sustainable to continue to keep this three linebacker system because NFL teams are playing 1.5. Most of them have a 100% guy and a 60-70% guy.
Not to even mention some of the guys are classified as safeties and coming into the box now.
There's one team, the Detroit Lions, the only team that are playing three linebackers that have significant snaps. It's crazy.
I think that's a good point. I'm going to keep it snappy
Yeah.
though because my wife just sent me a text saying, "Are you coming to bed?" And I know what that means. So,
Yep.
I love you, but we all have our priorities.
Yes, sir.
Until next week, stay safe out there from trade offers.
No, send them to me. Send them
Send
all
them
to
to
me.
me. I like to play. All right. Take care, buddy.
Later.